Alright, this is a tutorial. This one's a very specific tutorial, but it's going to be kind of neat, I think, if we are able to do it. So, we are going to try and make a miniature greenhouse, and the idea that I'm going off of... Ooh, let me get back into full screen here so we can all see this. The idea I'm going off of is... oh, no, I went back to my face. Why would we do that? The idea I'm going off of is this. It's small. This one's smaller than the one that we're going to be trying to make, but it has all the shapes that... Oh, it's gone. That's too bad. Well, we're making our own, so it doesn't matter. But let's zoom in here so we can kind of see some of the features. We can see that there are two roofs. They're more or less identical. And the perimeter of the roof, I can't scroll over it, but the perimeter of the roof is a little wider than all of the cutout holes. Okay, so then you have this front panel here, and you have a similar back panel, probably without the door frame. And that would be more or less a square with a triangle on top. And then you have two side pieces that are just rectangles. And if we could see this from multiple viewpoints, I think you would be looking at sides that look more or less like the roofs. So once we do a roof, I think we'll be set to make this thing. Oh, and then what you could do is you could either cut specific sized acrylic, or glass, I guess, but acrylic with laser cutter, and put it and assemble this whole thing together so that these were little windows to get the greenhouse effect. Or you could just take one big sheet and lay it underneath those cutouts to do to have the same effect, more or less. So I'm in Gravit. I've created a 12 by 12 inch. Make sure you're in units of measurement of inches. A 12 by 12 canvas. So that's it gives us a frame of reference for our Baltic birch sheet that we're going to be using. And I'm going to start with a roof, because I think that's a good place to start, and it's pretty easy. So remember, we are going to be attempting to make cuts, and it's really, really important that we are looking at these measurements. Okay, this is the size of our piece that we're working with, and I don't want to use things that are going out into like the tenths, hundreds, 10,000ths of a decimal. So we're going to just we're going to take that and change that to a 10. 10's a nice even number. We could do 10.5, but we'll go with 10. And then we'll take this down to 5 instead of 5.3, and that'll give us a good premise for our roof. And I'm trying to think about how I want to do this right now, because there are many different ways we could. But I think what I'm going to do, I'm going to leave this gray so we can see this. And now I'm going to take another square. This is going to be the square hole cutout that you see. There are 4 going up and down. And then it looks like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 across. So if we go back, I'm going to make, and I'm going to see if I can do this, but let's see how many we can get up and down. Ours is obviously going to be a little different. And you know what we should do is we should make this one a different color so we can see what's going to happen, okay? And by the way, all of these fills are going to be removed before we export this. So we're going to duplicate that. I like the perimeter here of that size. I don't know what it is, but it looks fairly accurate. So with an eyeball measure, that looks pretty good. So I duplicated that, and I want these squares to be rather close. Okay? So now I'm starting to see the frame. Okay, so we're going to duplicate that. Ooh. Okay, so if we wanted that one, it would go a little too high. Okay, well, let's modify it. So let's take everything, let's move it down a tad, and take this, move it up, so that we have, more or less, we can take all these shapes and align it to the middle. You see how I get that midline for the base rectangle? Now I know that those are centered. Now, we'll duplicate all 4 of those rectangles and move them over. And we're trying to get them even with this. So I'm going to zoom in. That looks pretty good. All right, now we're going to duplicate again. And it's going to duplicate and replicate at that spacing. So you can see that this makes for light work. Okay, and again, we need to take everything and we need to shift it over, and we're just going to expand that rectangle out. Okay, that looks pretty good. All right, so you can see those will be the holes, and then we have this wider perimeter going around the entire roof. So now if we select everything and we do a subtraction, it should take those away. Great. All right, now you can really start to see it. If we take this at this point, we remove the fill, make that 0, and give the border black. It doesn't matter. Everything's going to be cut. Now, it would matter if you wanted to put some sort of engraving over the top of this. You can do that. That would look great, I think. So let's say we wanted to do, I don't know, maybe like a circle engraving that kind of grows, okay? What we could do is we would take this fill down to 0, okay? And we would add a border that's red so that we know that it's going to be, engraved instead of cut. Now if we duplicate, it duplicates in the same spot. I'm holding down Shift as I expand this out so that it gives me a nice even starting point from there. And now if I duplicate, you can see that what's happening. Ooh, I'm faster than the thing is. You can see that I'm getting this unusual circular pattern. And what we could do now, I kind of like that just in the corner. So what I'll do is I'll select all the circles or ellipses and duplicate that. And I'm going to rotate it. You know, you could do whatever you want. I'm holding Shift to get that like a lock. And then I'll probably just move it over here. And you get this crazy pattern. Now remember, you're not going to see all of this. You will see all of that there. But you won't see all of it. And I can see that that's not in the corner. I would probably, if I was really working on this, I would probably change that so that these were both evenly bounced into the corners there. But, okay, so now we have that. Let's go back. Well, you know what? I might as well save this. Maybe one day I'll actually make this thing. What are we calling this? Greenhouse. Roof. Okay, so now we have that saved. So I'm going to go in and now, so you would laser cut 2 of those, and now you have a roof. And potentially a side. Okay, let's, and obviously at this point you would export to an SVG, and you're done. New design, 12 by 12 inches, okay, create, boom. Now we're going back, and I want to create this thing. Okay, that looks a little bit more complex, so let's do it. I really like that door. That is neat. Okay, so what I'm going to do this time is take the pen tool, and we're just going to create a path more or less like this. Now, one thing to keep in mind is that whatever this length is here needs to be the width of our other file. Okay, so that's actually that's an important line. So I don't think I got it right. In fact, so I don't remember what we said it was. We changed it because of those squares. See, this is screwing me up. So we're going to copy that number in. That's why I wanted to originally use even numbers, but it's okay. Make it work. And now we're going to take the pen tool And at this point, I think I can go in and just paste. Maybe? No. Okay. So how are we going to do this? Maybe with a triangle? I really just want one line. Once we have one line, we can go from there. Okay. There we go. So there's our roof, and we can make the pitch whatever we want, but the pitch does have to rotate 90. The pitch does have to fit on this. That doesn't look right. This is 88. This is -2. That should be. So we just want to rotate that so that it points in the middle. That looks pretty good. I'm going to speed along at this point. So we have these two objects, both at the width of... Oh, maybe that's why. Okay, there we go. There we go. Now we're talking. I didn't have the right height. So now we got to go back and rotate it again. What I'm trying to do is align this. They're not even. 5.6. 5.6. Okay. Okay, now they're both identical. You know what I would probably have done is make an individual line that was straight at 5.6 and then went from there. Okay, doesn't matter. So here we go. Now let's just make the base. We'll come down like that. We'll come across. It'll align for us, and we'll just do that. Now yours might be a little longer. And maybe you would have to do this in 2 sections to make it work out. I don't know. But this is all where you would test it and see. Let's see what happens if we group that. Yeah, I knew that was going to happen. Okay. So at this point, it would cut this out. But, you know, this is not the best process for this. And I don't want to waste all your time trying to figure this out. So what I will do is, okay, what we will do is I'm going to figure out a quick way to do this, and we'll go from there. Because I know there's a way in which this is probably just a few steps, and then, just like the other one, you'll be done in minutes. All right, so we'll come back to this. You would put a door in here, and you would do a subtraction just like the other one here, where you have the subtract tool. So forget about this whole section of this video. But remember, this is what we're trying to create, and it's totally doable.